Welcome back to The Explainer. So, what if I told you that the reason your life isn't changing really isn't because you're lazy? What if, instead, part of you is secretly, almost stubbornly committed to not succeeding? Yeah, it's a pretty heavy thought. But today, we're looking closely at something I call the addiction to staying the same. You know the feeling, right? You wake up super motivated, you map out your whole day, you literally promise yourself, okay, this time is going to be different. But then you scroll, you delay, you hesitate, and by the time your head hits the pillow, you're right back where you started, wondering what on earth went wrong. Well, in this explainer, we're breaking down 5 hidden behaviors. These are silent patterns that are just quietly killing your growth. And hey, pay really close attention because that 5th behavior, almost nobody sees it coming, and it is by far the most dangerous one of the whole bunch. Okay, let's dive right into this. The truth that nobody tells you is this: you actually don't lack discipline. I know, shocking, right? When you have those highly motivated mornings that just totally fizzle out into absolute zero by bedtime, it's not a discipline issue at all. It's a silent pattern of self-destruction. And until you expose that part of yourself, you're gonna keep destroying your own progress over and over again, without even realizing you're doing it.
So let's start with trap number 1, the illusion of progress.
This is where we constantly confuse movement with actual progress. You're watching productivity explainers, you're meticulously organizing that Notion board for literally the 5th time today, and man, it feels incredibly productive. Why? Because your brain actually rewards you for planning the thing almost as much for doing the thing. So on one side we have movement, on the other we have progress. Honestly, just thinking about change is exactly like running on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're moving your legs, but you are going absolutely nowhere. And the worst part? You don't even realize. You're just stuck in place. So I really need to ask you something brutally honest here. When was the last time you did something that actually scared you, strictly for the sake of your own growth? Like, not just planned it, not just thought about it in the shower, but actually stepped up and did it. Right, exactly. And that brings us perfectly to trap number 2, the comfort addiction. You say you want success, but if we look closely, your habits are saying something completely different. See, because growth requires you to become someone entirely new. Your brain perceives that change as a literal threat to your survival. So what does it do? It starts whispering these little excuses. Hey, just start tomorrow. You need more time to prepare. You're just not ready yet. We constantly retreat to these familiar thoughts to protect our cozy little comfort zones. We end up sabotaging our own progress while mistakenly believing we're just being, reasonable. There's this fascinating story in our sources about a guy named Alex. Every single Monday, without fail, he started fresh with this brand new routine. And every Friday, he quit. When someone finally asked him why he kept quitting, he gave this incredibly chilling answer. He said, "Because when I try and fail, it hurts way more than not trying at all." Wow, Alex wasn't afraid of hard work, guys. He was absolutely terrified of confronting the possibility that he just might not be good enough. Which leads us right into our 3rd pattern, fear disguised as logic. Now, this is where it gets super dangerous. Your brain is incredibly smart, right? It doesn't just raise its hand and admit, hey, I'm scared. Instead, it invents these highly logical sounding excuses. Things like, well, this just isn't the right time, or I really need to draft a better plan first. But the reality? It's not logic at all. It is simply fear wearing a really nice suit. And this brilliantly illustrates that waiting for the perfect conditions is just fear successfully delaying your life. The more you listen to it, the longer you stay stuck. Oh, and quick reminder, we still have that dangerous 5th pattern coming up, which is where most people lose control completely without even realizing it. All right, let's move on to the 4th behavior, the identity conflict. Here's a really crucial piece of human psychology for you. Your actions will always align with your identity. If you see yourself as someone who always struggles, guess what? You will subconsciously find a way to struggle. There's this intense internal conflict happening inside you whenever you try to level up. Your future self is cheering, saying, come on, let's grow. But your current identity pulls back hard and says, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't who we are. And guess who almost always wins? You sabotage your progress. Not because you're weak, but because your self-image simply hasn't caught up with your ambition yet. Now, what's really fascinating here is how we have to completely redefine what's actually going wrong. Self-sabotage, it isn't a character flaw. It's not a weakness. It's actually your brain's autopilot defense mechanism working perfectly to protect your current identity from the perceived threat of growth. I mean, stop for a second and just think about that. What if the real problem isn't your daily habits at all, but the story you keep repeating to yourself about who you are? And here we are. We've arrived at the fifth and final pattern, the absolute most dangerous one of all, the hidden addiction to self-sabotage. Okay, this might sting just a little bit, but the really uncomfortable truth here is that you are emotionally attached to your struggle. It's true. It provides this warm, fuzzy blanket of excuses, a sense of comfort, and a perfectly valid reason to stay exactly where you are. Because think about it, if you actually succeed, success completely removes your safety net. Suddenly, there's no one left to blame. There's no more saying, oh, I'll start someday, or I totally could have done it if I really tried. Success forces you to face reality head on. And for a lot of people, that is absolutely terrifying. That right there is why we consistently, albeit completely subconsciously, distract ourselves and destroy our own momentum. So, the crucial point is, how do we actually fix this mess? Not with fluffy hype, but with real truth. Let's walk through this 5-step framework. First step, stop negotiating with yourself. When you say you're gonna do something, just do it. No debates. Number 2, make discomfort your new standard. Because if it's easy, you absolutely aren't growing. From there, step 3, you must upgrade your identity. Step 4, track proof, not your feelings. Why? Because feelings lie, but undeniable progress doesn't. And finally, number 5, break the cycle immediately. Don't wait for next Monday. Interrupt the pattern the exact second you catch yourself doing it. Let's zoom in on how this builds on that third step, upgrading your identity. You really need to stop saying things like, well, I'm trying to be disciplined. Scratch that. Instead, start telling yourself, I am the type of person who does what needs to be done, period. Your words actively shape your actions. When you adopt a brand new, uncompromising identity, your behavior naturally rises up to meet it. We are absolutely at a turning point here. Listen, your life isn't stuck because of your circumstances. It's stuck because of these exact patterns that you haven't confronted yet. Awareness without action is literally just another form of self-sabotage. You do not need more information. Honestly, you don't even need another explainer. What you need is to stop operating on autopilot. Catch yourself in the act of sabotaging and actively choose differently. One decision, one action. That is really all it takes to break the cycle. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, crucial thought. The next time you feel yourself slipping, the very next time you hear that familiar little voice in your head saying, we'll just do it later, pause, stop right there. Ask yourself this exact question. Am I building my future, or am I just protecting my comfort? Your answer to that will determine absolutely everything. Now go prove to yourself that you are finally done getting in your own way.